What if you want to style this? We style this with a to look kind of like the button type. So we need a background and border, right? But we don't have anything here. So what that means is that we need to attach an attribute to the P here, so that it has some type of maybe a class, right? So how would we do that there? So we can say either after or before, doesn't really matter in this case. We could do something like p.set attributes. We could set an attribute. Okay. Notice you have two options: the name of the attribute and the value of the attribute. Right? Because right now, if you look at the tree again, you see that the paragraph has no attributes, just plain paragraph tag. I want to say paragraph with the class equal to vacation spots, right? So we could do something like the attribute is going to be a class of class type. The value is going to be maybe just vacation. Okay, so this is synonymous to P is equal to vacation. Okay, we did that using a built-in function. So this is the actual attribute and the name. If you want to add an ID, you put ID like there. Okay, if you want to attach say if you add a anchor link, or if you want to make it clickable, you can put H. Like if it's an image tag, you can say src, and then here will be the URL to that image, right? Okay, so we do that here, and let's save this again. And if I go back here and refresh my page and add a few things in here, okay, you'll see that we have the class called vacation added to the P tags. Okay, so now we have that added. Then we can style it with CSS. Okay, I mean with the CSS you can do everything in JavaScript too if you want. Okay, but why do we want to do that? We can just go into our CSS file and create that in here, right? So let's go in here and then style our CSS. I mean the paragraph tag. It's called vacation. That applies to the paragraph tag. If you want to be more specific, you can say it's a paragraph tag with the class with the class called vacation. You can do that, right? It's very specific to only the paragraph tags. But if you take it out, it applies to every tag that has a vacation class. Okay, so we would say has a class, so that's a dot in front. Sorry. The value is going to be, we'll have a border, just 1 pixels wide, solid. We'll make it blue. Okay. We have some padding, maybe not so much, but 5 pixels around. We also want to have a background color, maybe. Background color, I'll make just gray, that's CCC color. If you want to have it round, so you need to do border radius, right? And you could put like maybe, I don't know, 3px or something. Let's see what that looks like. Should have a little round around, that means that 3 pixels all around, right? Maybe too big, but we'll see. Okay, so if I go here, and add that there. So there it is. It applies to it. It's just too big. I mean, it's too long. You know, we may not want to be that. Or maybe we do. It doesn't matter. Okay. Let's just say we're going to go like just 50% for the width. Just put 50%. Okay. So that is much shorter than the whole screen. Moon. Yeah, it's much better. You can use it to make it shorter. It doesn't really matter. So we added. So it looks like a button now. You could have used a button instead, but we chose the paragraph. So the next thing is we're going to make this paragraph clickable. When I click on this, it's going to transfer it over to the location down here. That means that's been visited. Okay, so that and they've also removed that from the list. Any questions so far? How we did it? We get here. Okay. All right. So let's go back to our list here. So we got the add to list done. Well, not really, but we added the style of the class as well. Now we need to make this P here. Every time we add the P, it doesn't matter again. You put it after or before, it doesn't really matter. As long as it's still in the same function here, it should still be fine. I want to add an event to the paragraph tag. Okay. So I would do like p.add_event_listener, and the event's going to be a click event. And then once we click on the paragraph tag, it's going to call a function to maybe we'll call it visited or something. Okay. So say visited. It's a function, and we'll put the false in here. False here is really just no, not that. It just means that it's has to do with the way the click is bubbling up or bubbling down. So we just use a false. So we need to write the function for visited. Oh, not only that, once we are done with this data, once you read it, and then we add it to the tree here, we can then also clear that data. Value is equal to blank. If we move that data, we'll clear the list. You clear here. Once I add it, this one should be clear, right? So that's all I'm doing. I put like moon. If I click add, and then it clears the list. Okay. So that's the tiny piece of code is to make it look nice to the user. And when you build something for a user, every little thing counts. Okay. That could be your whole selling point. Just that. So now we have to write a function called for the visited. Make sure again you spell correctly. It's capital V for mine. If you use a lowercase, make sure it's also a lowercase. So this visited here, every time when I created a paragraph tag, it's attached to this P, the P0, P1, P2, Pn. Okay, so each P has its own event. So therefore, in here, when this function is being called, then we can actually access the P here through this this keyword here. This is referred to an object. The current object that is calling or activating this function called visited. Okay, so it could be the P tag. If I call this from a different tag, then that whatever that tag is, that this refers to that. Okay, the current this. So that's what this means. So when I click on the P tag, then I want to move this down here. So down here we have the second spot called visited. So we need to target that div tag too, right? So kind of similar to how we did with the other one up here. So in here, I will also do a target. Again, it will look very similar. I'll use the query selector again. This has a class, no ID, called visited. Now that's been created. So I need to read the content from this paragraph here. And the content is really from the current tag, which refers to the this, right? So I could say var again, the data will be coming from the this tag dot and the inner HTML, because that is that's a paragraph tag. You want to get the content inside the paragraph. The inner HTML gets that content inside the paragraph tag. There's also an outer HTML. Outer HTML includes the paragraph tag. Okay? So that's the difference. If you want to grab the tag with it, use the outer HTML. If you just want to grab what's contained inside the paragraph tag, the text and maybe any additional tags in there, use the inner HTML. If you just want to grab the text only and omit all the tags, use the inner text. Okay, so that's the difference. But in this case, I want to get everything inside that paragraph tab, just in case it might have some span tags in there, right? You don't want to strip those off. And then now we have to create a new paragraph for this as well. So document.create element, the P, and then we attach the child, append child, the data. No, is it data? No, not data. Data doesn't work because data is not a node. This is just text, right? It has to be a node. So we have to do the text. Document dot create text node, and here we put the data, and then we'll put the text in here, just like we did up here. And then finally, you want to attach to the target. So target dot append child and then the P tag. But we also want to style that paragraph. So we'll do the same thing. We'll create the attribute up here. Okay, you can copy this and then put it somewhere down here. We'll just say a vacation. Maybe just put visited for that for now. So we have a different color, just to be fun. It's kind of confusing because visited here as a class, visit as an ID. So just be careful here. Well, for now, let's save this and see if this works. Okay, you always want to check if make sure it works first before you move on. It's easier to debug. So let's just say Mars. Okay, click on Mars. It adds to the bottom of the list, right? But keep clicking on it, keep adding it, right? But what we want is when you click on the Mars, it should delete it from the list up here, right? Also, it doesn't make sense to have it listed here. So before we do that, let's go to the style sheet and start our new visited class. And then here, I could just basically copy this and then put down here. I'm just going to change just the color, basically the background color. We'll put this as a, I guess yellow. Can't think of another color. You could put this a different color if you want. Put yellow, and then this would be visited. And there you see a lot of redundancy here, right? All these are the same. Only difference is the color. So really you could put this into a separate class, add it to the paragraph tag, so they all share the same rules. But this is good for now. So go back to my file, I save it, refresh, and try again Mars, I got that. I click and I add it to my new list, so I'm good to go. We just need to take care of moving that, deleting that from the list. Okay? And there are, many ways to do this. And I'll show you 2 ways, and then we'll take a break. So are we all good here? Okay, so back to the code. We got, when we add it to the list, now this here refers to this here, right? So now we can say, oh, once I add it to the list, to the new list, I can remove it from the list. So basically, I'm just saying this dot remove, and I'm done. Okay, remove this tag. The current tag that was clicked. Just make sure don't delete the p tag or the target. Yeah, the p tag. We did that the other time, and it was we wasted a few minutes to solve the problem. But so if you save that now and go back and refresh, and then put Mars or whatever that is. Okay, click, and there it's gone. Okay, and I keep adding maybe some location here. If I keep adding those, you see that it works perfectly. Okay, that's one way to accomplish this. So let me show you the other way. It's actually much shorter. It will save you probably 5 or 6 lines of code. And that's by when we add the data to the list here. I hope this works. I haven't not tried, but so if I do this, I'll keep the target. Okay, all of these here. I'm going to comment these out. Only thing is when I do, yeah. So when I do this, only thing is this visit is not propagated over. So the style, it doesn't apply here, but we'll take this out also. Instead of the p tag, we'll put this. Okay. So this is the current tag that we clicked on. And I also want to remove that. That's just 1 line, basically. Is it 2 lines? Oh, see if this works. And if you save it and refresh, so type in Mars, click, okay, cattle farm, okay, I put like a moon, and of course we gotta go to Boise. Okay, so if I click on these, you see that they added down there. This is 2 lines of code. Okay, actually you do this in 1 line of code if I want. But then the only thing is that if you click down here, also they're clickable, right? And it's like, wait a minute. Because all we did was we basically move that tag up there to a new location. Okay, so that's why it retains the original color background like we did up here. So basically you're just shifting the whole tag to a new place. You're not actually deleting it. Okay? So you're reattaching to a new position, so that's why it's still clickable. When I click it, it's actually doing itself inside here. So if you want to turn that clickable off, notice when you add the event listener, you have to kind of copy this again, the original list, put it down here. Instead of add event, you can say remove the listener. And we keep everything as the same. So whatever you add before, everything here stays the same. You just change that to remove. And so now if I save it, and if I do it again, if I type in Mars, if I add, click, and then now it's not clickable anymore. Okay? Just put some tests in here. So you can see that I add those, and then now they're not, well, okay, there's something wrong here, but Oh, it's not P. That's why. Yeah, it shouldn't be P. Should be this. Sorry. Yeah, it's the this. It's the this tag. So let's see, test car. Okay, so move, and then now they're not clickable. Okay, so you can add event listener. You can remove it. So that's why there's always like a negative and a positive, and pros and cons. Questions before we go break? Okay, so I'll take a 10-minute break. I'll see you back in 10.